It is August 27th, 2022. Good evening and welcome back to the podcast, Everyday Man of God Ministries. It is great to have you on board. Now, I do not have an exact prepared podcast this evening. I'm going to do that sometimes, but I've decided to take a little different approach than I usually do. There'll be some of the same things, but I want to make this a little more off the cuff and sometimes prepared, but off the cuff of stuff that we should be talking about as Christians. Heck, I wish there was an actual radio station or a talk show or something like that on a radio somewhere, maybe even on an internet radio, that you had real Bible-believing Christians talking about the world and talking to you. Instead of these fake Christians who are out there, but they want to tell you the sports scores, even though that we shouldn't even be following sports. Well, I just eliminated some people by listening with that comment that might be listening. Sorry about that. Taking a drink of water? Well, actually, no, I'm not sorry about that. I'm thirsty. What can I tell you? I'm a human being. But as you could probably see the picture of I guess you could call it the image or whatever that you see when you clicked on it, it says hypocrites, with a lot of other words. And with that, the title of this podcast, as you might have also read, All Hypocrites Shut Up. And I pause, for dramatic effect, of course. But all hypocrites need to just shut up. First of all, I don't want to hear from them. Nobody wants to hear from them. But second of all, if people are going to listen or hear them, actually listen and hear them. Because it's funny how they knew the way. Now, they taught you all these things. But now, not only in the political arena and secular world, but a lot of people in Christians, what's this, Apostle Geno Jennings and some other people, even Gabe the Street Preacher. He's more of not a big time, well, he's got a pretty good following. There's a lot of hypocrites out there. A lot of them. Who are Benny Hinn was another one too. And people say, oh, hypocrites are people who got caught. No. It isn't just people who got caught. It's people that have exposed themselves. Not by a mistake they may have made, by admitting to mistakes that they have made. Do you see what happens? See, because the tide is turning. When the tide begins to turn, they turn. And they're like, we're sorry. We didn't mean to do the prosperity gospel. We were wrong, and we just figured it out. You just figured it out. You just figured out. You were in that Bible for the last 30 years, but you just figured it out. I guess maybe because you got the last dollar you possibly could from this train of thinking and the way that you were doing things, you couldn't get more money. So let's flip it. Let's flip the script here and let's see if you can make money now another way. Maybe it's an apology tour. I make no apologies of my beliefs at this current time. I believe the King James Bible. I follow it every day as much as possible. Am I a man who makes mistakes? Absolutely. But here's the thing. I'm not after your money. I'm not trying to sell books. I don't have a movie script. I don't have a book tour coming out. I don't have a TV appearance that I need to do. Oh, Stephen, you're just jealous because I get to do it. No. You see, if you're doing all those things, you've already sinned. Because you are not to do those things. Your wonderful, beautiful works are supposed to be in private. When they're not private, they become what? Works that you have to live up to, that you need people to see. You want people to see how holy you are when you are not holy at all. You see, there are these hypocrites, and you see them coming out left and right. They're changing their patterns or being exposed, or literally saying one thing one week and then the next week they say another thing. And I don't mean just Joe Biden. You're liars. Let's look at that picture. Deceitfulness. Remember what the Bible says about backbiters and being envious and, oh my goodness, what do you think a hypocrite is? Hypocrites are in 99%. Do I have that as an actual figure? No. I don't have the actual figure in my head in front of me going, oh, out of all these ones I pulled, 99.75%. No, I'm just going to be honest with you. Let's all be honest with ourselves. People who are worldly, who just actually decide to click on this video for the heck of it to see what this crazy guy's talking about, and those of you who are professing Christians, and those of you and those of you who are actually Bible believing, you all know what I mean when you walked into those buildings and you saw nothing but hypocrisy. Sometimes it was blatantly obvious. Sometimes it took you a little while because of the little trickery they had going on. The deception. You're going to be, even for the King James Bible believers, my friends, you're going to find people that are waving the King James Bible and don't believe it one iota. That's been exposed. You can't keep hopping from Bible to Bible like you did when you hopped bar to bar. Maybe you hopped in bed with different women in the past too. Maybe that's your idea of life. So for those who are tuning into this program just to see, oh, what's this all about? All hypocrites shut up. This should be interesting. Well, this goes to you too because you're a hypocrite. Oh, now I'm just condemning and judging, ain't I? Nope, I'm not condemning, but I am judging. See, I know. I get it. And when I say this next number, I'm being a little exaggerating. But 9,000 churches I've been to. And every one of them, except there was just one a long time ago. But anyways, I'm talking about the past churches I'd gone to. We're all fake. Full of hypocrisy. See, men are not perfect. But we go to these church buildings as if these men are perfect. They're the greatest. You follow them more than you follow God. Maybe you went to church seeking God, then you found the holy man. And the holy man took the place, didn't he? Rules, regulations that were not biblical. Now, there are rules and regulations that are biblical. See, the greatest, I don't know if I want to say the greatest trick, but I'm going to use the term anyways. The greatest trick the devil has ever pulled is to get into all the church buildings with the fake Christians. Drove out the real Bible believers, but that was okay. The devil wouldn't mind. He said, you know what, I'll lose the 5 if I can get the 505. Not a big deal. Because the number's going to prove out that way in the long run anyways. And these revivals that people talk about, we need a great American revival. Let us march on Washington, D.C. or wherever, whatever city these jokers decide they're going to go down to. There's going to be an interesting, eclectic form of revivals, in my opinion. You're going to see people that were on the edge. I don't mean on the edge of leaving. I mean on the edge of making a decision. Do I go in on this God thing? It feels right. But all my friends. I tend to believe those are the ones who are going to make that commitment. And the ones that I think are going to not make that commitment are the ones who are already there who pretend that they're Christians. Stephen, why are you so angry? Who did something to you, man? Did somebody yell at you, or did somebody ostracize you? Did somebody kick you out of the church? Yeah, no. I've never been kicked out of a church, although my father did one time, a long time ago. But he's Pentecostal. I am not. But I'll tell you why he got kicked out. And yeah, in my opinion, they had a valid reason to kick him out, and he had a valid reason to go ahead and be kicked out. How is that possible? It's really simple. They needed to kick him out because he threatened what they were teaching. He needed to be kicked out because, well, he stood up for what was biblical at that time. Yes, I did say he's Pentecostal. But see, he believes lies and deceptions on another level, but he doesn't believe that we should be lying and deceiving people. Isn't that interesting? No, I'm not mad at my father. He's a good, decent man. He's a hard-working guy, but there's some other issues there. I don't know if he'll make it or not. But those are the people, the ones that are on the fence already in the church buildings that are going to fall away. I think you'll see more worldly people come to God than you will see godly people stay with God. Because I don't believe they're godly at all. You see, they've been in a cocoon too long. If you watch my other video, the Christians living in a cocoon, they've been in that situation. They've been living in that cocoon, protected environments. They haven't had to face anything. They haven't had to face betrayal of even their own brethren. But they will. Or the slander. But they will. You see, sometimes they were part of the revenge, the deceiving, the secret gossip. And now they're the victims of it. See, they were the perpetrators, and now they're the victim. My friends, unless you stay strictly to the King James Bible, you got a lot of problems coming, and you are not going to be able to handle it. If you can't go out on the streets and have someone throw something at you because you're preaching about God, then you're not going to make it. I don't mean the false God. Uh-oh, what does that mean, false God? Wait, I'm confused. What's going on? I mean some of these funny guys out there on the street going and preaching about God from an ESV or a CEV or something like that. Come on now. Well, I just want the people to understand. You want the people to understand? It's pretty simple. I'll be doing a video about that pretty shortly. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Trinity, Triune, Godhead. What's the difficulty on that one? Folks, if you're a King James Bible believer and you're listening to this, you need to step up your game. You can't just hope that they're going to come to God. You can't just hope they'll find something. And I hope they do. But you can't have hope by itself that, well, you know what? Somebody else will take it. I mean, if it's God's will, somebody else will. If it's God's will, somebody else will. What if it's you? You don't have much time, Bible-believing Christian. We do not have much time. Time is drawing nigh, as they say. That means near. Yeah, because that's difficult to understand. I know. I mean, folks can understand Shakespeare, but they can't understand King James Bible. I can figure that one out. Steve, what's going on with you? Why are you so like wired up? Did you have 9 cups of coffee? I actually don't drink coffee. No, what it is I'm getting really, really tired. Exhausted of all the hypocrites. Even those who claim to be calling out hypocrites. Those are the best ones. You know, oh man, I did a video on the guy a little while back. What's his name? Justin Peters. And there's another guy, oh boy, Arthur Pavlock or something like that up in Canada somewhere. Watch out for this guy. This guy is going to be ushering, in my opinion, the far-right Catholic Church, even though he says he's not Catholic. Oh, that far-right Roman Catholic Church. Oh, he's bringing that one back. He's bringing that one back. People go, oh, now you're just insulting Catholic people. No. I'm not insulting people. I don't think. It's that whole Roman Catholic religion. Well, wait a minute, Steve. You're a Bible believer. You're religious. No, I don't believe in a religion. I believe in the Bible. See, religion is a man-made thing that they set up in a way that you can only follow a person more than the actual God, which is the only God that has ever existed. Well, I mean, there's been other ones in the imagination that made up to try to replace the real God, but it's a whole other story. There's somebody out there going, well, let me tell you about the Roman path of Romulus and... Okay, we're not doing that. Or, I mean, we could talk about the whole Ishtar and all that, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We can go down the road of Latin and, well, you know, original Latin. The original Latin's not even the Latin that the Catholic Church claims that they do. That's ecclesiastical, I can't even say the word anymore, Latin, which was actually was a church Latin for higher people, your professors and so forth. That wasn't even the Latin of common people. So even at that point, and then you get into the fact that, what's-his-face there, Jerome did the Vulgate, which was actually a translation of Greek into the Latin. So I'm confused why you didn't stick with Greek, which was the original language that was, in my opinion, way back then, coined Greek and so forth. So why change that? And I'm wired up tonight, folks. I am just wired up. I listen to the radio stations and just the hypocrisy and the violence. And we're sitting around going, oh, man, that's terrible. That's awful. That's just awful. Somebody should do something. Yeah, you lazy. You need to do something. Well, I mean, that's not my problem. Not only does the world think that way, but many professing Christians who call themselves Christians, they say the exact same thing. Well, that's not my problem. That's not, that's not me. Then who is? Is there like this one person just sitting somewhere across town going, that's me. I'm just going to do it all. Actually, there are people like that who feel like they have to do it all. But you don't, and you shouldn't. But just keep doing your best. The hypocrisy. What about the hypocrites later on in life of Lyndon Johnson and the whole the civil rights and so forth, and when he says, oh, we need to bring them up. We need to bring them forward. We need to bring those black people up because they can't do it on their own. Well, he didn't say those exact words, but that's exactly what he meant. And listen to people like Tom Sowell, who was there. The whole point was, oh yeah, we need to bring them up to the starting line because they're not smart enough to do it themselves. And then that's a hypocrisy, isn't it? The people that went with that were hypocrites because Frederick Douglass also had talked a long time ago. That Frederick Douglass was a former slave who was friends with Abraham Lincoln. Well, they had a rough friendship, but they had their problems. They didn't agree with everything, but that's what friends are for, right? So he also he gave a speech to the bunch of white folk and say, hey, you want us to succeed, leave us alone. Let us do what we got to do. Let us be. Let us make our own way. Oh, no. Oh, no. And those were the, Democrats who, had a problem. And were like, no. We still own you. And I'll be dang if they still didn't keep doing it over the years. God's not stupid and God sees. Oh, it makes me angry sometimes when these hypocrites even say God. I'm like, oh, man, are you going to get yours when it comes. Your iniquities also means injustice. I know it's a tough one. If my 10-year-old son knows what iniquities mean, I think you can figure it out too. And no offense to my son, he's a smart kid, but he's not in MIT or Harvard, and he can figure it out. So let's not play the game that it's so difficult to understand, because it ain't. But there's a lot of hypocrites. You're seeing them left and right. Look on your YouTube, your Rumbles. Look at it. Just watch what's going on. People who were saying one thing not too long ago, and I'm not even talking about just the politicians, because, well, hello, we'd expect that from the politicians. No, I mean the other politicians in the Christian churches, if you want to call them Christians. I'm talking about those politicians. Look at the thing going on at the South Methodist. I was thinking about the Southern Baptist Convention, but the Methodists, I just heard that on the radio. Now they're split. I don't know, same-sex marriage, not same-sex. Well, we don't want to go along with you. Well, we believe it's okay. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It's okay to disagree. We'll just have to split. Y'all shouldn't have been together anyways. The church was supposed to be local, one by itself. Now, if you know another church in, I'm in Connecticut, so let's say you see another one up in Vermont, and they run by themselves, but you've been there, you know the people, and you're like, wow, they're the same as we are. Like when Paul wrote the letters to the other churches, they weren't under one denomination. They weren't from the Methodist or the Presbyterian or the Roman Catholic Church or the Anglican. They weren't they were just churches. There were other places, parts of the church that followed God, that tried to live like Jesus. Oh, that's heresy. Not live like Jesus. You're not Jesus. You're sin, and he was sinless. Stop. You know what I meant. Don't be an ignorant idiot. It is almost done. We are so close, and you walk around like you've got plenty of time. So the hypocrites, they will get theirs. I'm not advocating for violence. I don't need to. Their time will come. And the moment all of you see these hypocrites, when you see that this one person has done this, you need to run. You need to run. Don't tell me that they just got to change of heart and now they're making money off that same change of heart. Didn't change, did it? See, that's the beauty of the deceitfulness of the hypocrite. The one thing's not working as much as they once did. Now let's slightly change and go this direction because the wind has changed slightly, much like a politician. If you're in a mega church, run. If you're in a church with 400 people, get out. They probably don't even know your name anyways. I'm looking at the time of this podcast, and I didn't want to make this incredibly long-winded podcast. But then again, those of you who know me and watch my videos, what do I say all the time? I'm going to try not to be long-winded. And what do I go and do? Be long-winded. Now somebody's going to see, you're a liar, so you lie to people. Oh, knock it off. Just look at that picture. When you click off this video and you see that picture, actually you probably see the picture all the way through the video. Liar. There's some funny words with that boss. I don't know. Unrecognized. Schizophrenia. That's a good one. There's a lot of pastors and priests out there who probably suffer from spiritual schizophrenia. It's almost over, folks. To my brothers and sisters out there, you need to start going out there. I see nobody on the streets. You know what I've been seeing lately, though, on the streets? The JWs again. You have activists and protesters who are unashamed. You have JWs who preach a false God. They are unashamed. Well, I don't know that we're out there. I'm not saying you can't go hang up a flyer at door to door, whether you're Baptist or not Baptist. If you're not willing to suffer persecution, no, I don't mean be a martyr. I mean, if you're not willing to be persecuted for the Lord, then you are not worthy. I hope that I am one day. I hope I am. I will do the best I can. I'm going to wrap this podcast up. I do appreciate you listening to my I don't know, my rant, whatever you want to call it, but hypocrisy has always been around. It's nothing new. People have been hypocritical for years. Hypocrites roam the streets. But I believe we are in, and I say beginnings. I say it's not even as bad as it's going to get. You're telling me, and you're looking at me going, well, you're not looking at me. But you're saying to yourself, it's not as bad as it's going to get. It's crazy out there. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Church buildings going to burn to the ground. They're going to be blown up. They're going to be vandalized, even more than you're seeing on the news. Society as a whole does not want God. They've rejected Him. And we sit passively by because we don't want to rock the boat. And as I said to my wife the other day, rock the boat. I'm going to flip this thing over. And we need to flip this over. And we need to stop getting wrapped up in the Mar-a-Lago and the Trump and all this. All of these things are to keep you away from where? The Bible. From who? God. From being what? Saved. And if you're listening to this podcast or this, watching this video or whatever and wherever, I know that sounds cavalier and nonchalant, but you need to give yourself to God. When is the time? Now. This is the time. There is no more time. You may not have more time. And I've said that more than once. I don't mean in this podcast, I mean in every podcast along the way and videos I've done. You could be at your own personal end. You may not wake up tomorrow. I may not wake up tomorrow. I fear that I won't, not because I'm unhealthy or anything like that. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to rely on prayers to get you over from purgatory? What if there's not enough prayers? What if you don't know enough people to even pray for you? You might not get over. So are you willing to take that chance and keep living a sinful life as if someone else is going to bail you out? Obama doesn't live in hell right now. He will be eventually, but the devil is no Obama. He doesn't give a bailout program. He's like, you know what? Nah, we don't want you. You did some good works. You might go to heaven. God's like, you know what? I got you. That ain't happening either. I know you sinned, but they weren't as bad as the other guy's sin. Give your life to Jesus. And if you think you have to be baptized tomorrow, you don't. Because if you give yourself to Jesus tonight and you die tomorrow, you still go to heaven. The thief on the cross was not baptized. I'm not speaking ill of being baptized. It's not what I'm saying. Don't get hung up on the other things that should be done. Get hung up on the one thing that should be absolutely done, and that's call upon Jesus. You call upon the Lord, and you get saved, and you turn from your sins with His help. I didn't say turn from sins and then go to Jesus, because if you could do it on your own. So I'm going to say once again, because I've already said it, I think twice before, that I'm going to wrap this up now. I appreciate you tuning in as always. I really do. Not a moment goes by when I don't go to start these podcasts or any of these videos that I'm like, wow, I am thankful for the people that listen. Do I have 1 million people listening? No. No, not by any far stretch of the imagination. But I'm thankful for everyone that is. I got 134 subscribers. I don't know that they're all watching my videos, but I'm thankful for everyone that does. My friends, God bless and good night.